And how long have you been interested in collecting vehicles and other ammunition?
I'm 56 years old, 56 young, and I suppose I was brought up in a family that was very into shooting, and that kind of drifted into a little bit of army vehicles. And I bought my first army vehicle about 30 years ago. That was a Jeep. And then I drifted into buying a tank and hiring it out, and that's what we do. We hire tanks. I've got 150.
Excellent. How do you usually choose the subjects or pieces for your collection?
Sorry?
How do you usually choose your pieces for the collection? How do you choose a tank for the collection?
It's generally what's available from the British Ministry of Defence at that time, and it's on price. I kind of like to buy things cheap, and I'll sit on them for a little while, then I'll sell them on. But I'm interested in just about anything. If I'm going to use it for my business, I want something that's easy to run and easy for the general public to come up and drive and enjoy. But I also like to get something a bit unusual sometimes, maybe just for me to play in for unusual TV and film roles. So I've got all sorts, and I'm interested in all sorts.
Why did you choose to get that Iraqi tank in particular? What was the one with the gold, and what was so special about that that caught your eye?
I've been doing private car crashes for years now, where you come along and you drive 2 different British military vehicles, and then you run a car over in a chieftain, and you have a little visit in the armoury, and you strip a machine gun, and it's a nice little package that a guy can buy his wife or vice versa for an anniversary or a birthday, a little private, a little treat for someone you love. We do these big organised days with 60, 80 people, and they compete for a car crash. But all those people that never win, and are never gonna win, they can buy one. And I thought it'd be nice maybe to do a different one for the hundreds and hundreds of people who come up here and done a private car crash. I've got this massive customer database. I could send them all a picture of various Russian tanks and do a new activity called From Russia We Love. And it would be basically similar to the normal car crash, but you drive a BIDM, a Grozdyka, Arcasia, and then maybe do a crush with a T-54. And I know that would be very popular. I don't think there's anywhere in the world you can do it. And the T-54 that I bought was the last jigsaw, the last piece to the jigsaw.
Excellent. Why did you decide to check inside the tank in detail and for the gold, and how come it was never checked thoroughly before it arrived here?
The tank was captured by the British Army and brought back on the tank's stolen, and I may lose the tank. It turns out I'm the 7th owner, and it was stolen from the MOD some years ago, and they've been looking for it ever since. And this gold thing has brought it to light. Basically, when it came to us, it had a few sharp areas on the front mud guards where it had been hit by bullets. And I thought, if I let people try and drive this and climb on it, they're going to get cut badly. So I beat these out and I welded them, I grind them, and it's very hard to do a sloppy job. I like to do things right. And when you'd done that bit and it looked great, there was another bit that looked a bit rough. And in the end, you do the whole tank. Now, the external fuel tanks are only an auxiliary tank. They're not really, only for use for long distances. And there was a lot of dirt and mud from years and years had gone down the back of them, and they were beginning to rust quite badly. And I thought, if I'm going to spray it, I may as well take them off one by one and clean it all off, needle gun it, red oxide it. And one by one we went round all the bin boxes and all the external things, taking them off, cleaning them and painting them and putting them back on. And the last one we got to was a lot heavier than all the rest. And that's where we thought it would be guns in there.
And what was your first reaction when you found the gold?
Well, one of the guys came into the office and said, we're trying to lift that front fuel tank off, it's much heavier, and there's a hole cut in the bottom, we've levered it up, and we think it's probably going to be guns. We'd already found lots of bullets in this tank that were live. We'd had to ring the firearms office, and they came over and put them in a box and took them away. And I've often found or heard of guns being smuggled back by crews, tank crews, as souvenirs, trophies of war. And I was expecting, when we saw this hole and it being very heavy, to be 10 or 11 handguns or something like that in there. and it was gold.
And what was your first thought about what you would do with the gold after you found it?
Initially, I was just thrilled to see it, and I kind of really didn't think about. I was just intrigued to see how much there was. There was a lot of people there, a lot of friends, and people were texting and firing messages of photos all over the place. It was quite an exciting time, and a lot of people are surprised that I handed it in. I'm not sure, as I would have done, if I'd have been all on my own. Maybe on reflection I would. I'm a very happy man. I have a great business that I love. I've got a wonderful girlfriend, I've got a big dog, I've got 39 parrots, I drive a Bentley. I'm happy. You start doing things that are illegal, all that could change very quickly.
That answers the next question. So, what was the police's first reaction when they saw the gold?
I don't think it was the police that picked it up. They sent someone more in that department. Yeah, they were a bit surprised. Yeah, a bit surprised.
Did you get any compensation or interest from your find? Is the UK granting part of the treasure to the finder?
As of yet, we don't know. There is speculation about who owns it, and many people have come forward saying it's their gold. Mostly from Kuwait and people like that. All sorts of random people. So it's yet to see. I'd like to think we get at least a finder's fee, but we don't know.
Have you considered getting more tanks from the same source? Perhaps there's more treasure to find?
I have 3 more tanks that were captured in Iraq, and I have never touched.
And what do you think was the story behind the gold? How did this gold get into the tank?
The gold was very roughly cast, and I would imagine, it's the script of a film, but I would imagine the crew probably had a breakdown, got separated from the rest of that platoon, and when they finally got their tank going, they were all on their own, the city was deserted, and they probably came across a jeweller's shop or maybe started looting, and with all the stuff they got, they just melted it down in a steel pot on a campfire and made some sort of mould with some wet sand maybe and poured it in. Yeah.
Are you happy about your find and the sudden media attention? Did the popularity of this find, did it promote your business? Have you noticed?
I think it may have promoted the business a lot. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah, it's been a lot of laughs, and everywhere I go, people go, "You're the gold man," and some people don't even say anything, but you can see them at a distance. It's been quite funny, yeah.
You've probably heard that the USSR used to support and even fund Saddam Hussein. Is it possible that gold was actually Soviet gold?
Yeah, definitely. Everybody said, "My gold, my gold." I don't know, but they can test gold. They can do a scientific analysis on it, and I read about some people in Switzerland who were selling gold, and it was definitely nothing to do with the Nazis. And they did a test on it, and it had a high mercury content, and that means it was fillings. So yes, a Middle East gold would look different, even if it's made out of scrap gold. The majority would probably be local or relatively local. Welsh gold is a different colour to Middle Eastern gold. Californian gold would be different. You can get white gold.
What do you think about treasure hunters in general? They typically live unusual lives, and do you think so-called easy money like that they find can bring happiness?
I think it could. It would make me very happy if you found it very easy. I read about a man who bought a Land Rover, took it to Australia, and he had a great big boom going across the Land Rover with loads and loads of metal detectors. And he took it in places in the outback where he reckoned man had never walked. And he thought, if it goes beep, it's not going to be a coke ring pull, it's not going to be a bullet, it's not going to be a hubcap, it's got to be gold. And he made his fortune. Yeah, just driving across the outback in Australia with 100 metal detectors all along a great big boom on a Land Rover really slowly and investigating. And he found gold. Good idea.
you were running a business based on military vehicle hiring. Is this popular in Britain versus, let's say, the more luxury limo rentals?
I also do tanklimo.com, and that is where if you're doing a prom or a wedding and you fancy a big white tank to take you to the prom or your wedding, we can do it. And it picks up a bit of TV work, and it does, sometimes we have to paint it in different colours. I've got a prom next week. I've got someone who is doing a television thing for a channel, and they want to show what a sperm whale does when it hits a boat. And they want one of my tanks to hit a caravan. Fair enough.
And final question, do you think you can call yourself a lucky man?
I think I could, yes. Only because I'm an optimist. Trust me, not everything I do goes right. But I tend to dwell and think more about the good things than the bad things. And overall, I'm healthy. I'm doing a job that I love. Unfortunately, I seem to do 7 days a week, which is not so good. But luckily, my girlfriend loves it too, and she helps on the tanks. And yeah, I have a good life. I don't gamble. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't need expensive things. Although I have got a Bentley, and I do like my Bentley, but I don't need it. But in the end, you've got so many tanks, and you think, well, do I need another tank? But when I sell the Bentley, I'll probably buy another tank. Yeah.
Excellent, that's a wrap. That's it.
That easy, that quick.